Hey everyone, it's Brian, and welcome back to the More For Me and You podcast. Today's episode is a hilarious one. But before we get into that, make sure you go hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned for future episodes, as well as visit some of the ones we've already done in the past. But as for today's very funny episode, we welcome in comedian Greg Berman, and we play a fun little game called Does ChatGPT Know You? And we find some really fun facts out about Greg, like uh, pen spinning. What the heck is that? I don't know, but I confirmed. Greg used to do it. So stay tuned for that. And later on in the episode, we discuss a film that he picked that's playing for free on Momi2 called Tango Shalom. And it's this little quirky Jewish comedy that is really funny and definitely worth your time. And it actually touches on different faiths as well. It was really unique and really well written. So hats off to those filmmakers. But as for today's podcast, stay tuned, have fun, and we will see you in the pod.
Yeah, that's right. You're tuning in to the More For Me and You podcast. That's real interviews, real movie reviews, real people, real journeys. If you real, lock in. I've been working all night, early in the morning. If you hustle high, hustle, you can never waste a moment. That's more for me and you. 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 Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Greg Berman.
Hey.
Greg, I usually start this off by just wanting to get to know my guests because so often everyone sees like the end result. Everyone sees the best thing you've done or whatever's going on at that time. And no one sees like who you are and how you got to where you are. So,
well, in my case, everyone's just seen the worst thing I've done.
And that's okay.
Because everything I've done is the worst thing I've done.
But you're in this chair for a reason. So you must have done something good.
Yeah.
So I do.
We'll see.
This is not going to be a serious episode, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to play a game with you just because I think it's fun and everyone uses AI in different ways, and
oh God, yeah.
So I wanted to see if ChatGPT knew you.
Oh.
So we're gonna play a little segment, and our editor's gonna jump it on the screen here.
Okay.
Does ChatGPT know you?
Do, 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 do.
Do, 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 do. Be great if we had like one of those like Prices Right
Ladies?
by like.
Da-da-da.
I'll say models because there's some dudes now too, but it doesn't.
You're right. That was wrong of me. I'm sorry. I
You-
get canceled in
you
the first
misogynist.
minute of
You
the
misogynist.
episode.
So does ChatGPT know you? GPT know you? Greg Berman. Number one, it says you have Ukrainian roots.
Yeah.
Greg was born in Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
raised in Minnesota,
That's true.
and now resides in Los Angeles.
Checks out.
It checks out.
Yeah. Ukrainian
ChatGPT
roots.
knows
I was born in Ukraine. Actually, I was born 1 month before the collapse of the Soviet Union. So
Wow.
I actually was born in Soviet Russia. I'm like one of the last
You kind of play on
of the
for
last
both
of the
teams in that
Soviets.
sense. That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, so my birth certificate has like the hammer and sickle on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so cool.
So how long did you live in Ukraine then? Like
I was in Ukraine until I was 7.
Okay.
So I got through about half of first grade, and then
Yeah.
I moved to America with my family as refugees.
okay. And you grew up in Minnesota. How was that? And how
Straight to
different was
Minnesota.
that?
Oh my God. Well, equally third world, I would say.
Depends on what part of Minnesota, I guess.
I was, I mean, climate-wise, pretty similar. I know I don't really have a lot of memories of Ukraine. I have like memories of Ukraine.
Okay.
Like I remember remembering things about Ukraine.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I definitely it was definitely different because we lived in like the suburb. You know, Minneapolis is already a very like kind of. Actually, I love the art scene in Minneapolis. It's really cool because we're all inside for most of the year because it's so cold.
Yeah, I mean 4 to 5 months out of the year, it's too cold to go outside.
4 to 5 months. That's a great year. It's like 6 to 7. Sometimes it's
I
snowing
have
on
friends
Easter.
in Minnesota, and I mean, maybe for them it's just not as cold. So
Yeah. Cold is a very subjective term when you're talking
Yeah.
to Minnesotans.
I mean, indoor pools is you have an indoor pool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have to. You cannot go.
Yeah,
outside.
every house has an indoor pool in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the construction.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess similar in climate. I think that's why my parents chose it, but I don't know if they had like a lot of choice. I think they just went to wherever we already had family because we already had family in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
So
what brought you to Los Angeles? Like why come here?
Well, I was a magician early in my life. I started when I was like, I couldn't even drive yet. My dad would drive me around to like birthday parties and stuff and like libraries.
So point number 2 checks out then.
Oh, did it say that I did magic?
He began performing magic professionally at age 14. Look at that.
True. It doesn't. That is true. I did. I started when I was 14. I was doing little birthday parties. I would like dress up as a clown initially. I used to be really, really into clowns.
Yeah.
And so my childhood bedroom had clowns everywhere.
Oof.
I had like figurines. I had like paintings. And like in Ukraine, clowns aren't a scary thing. In Soviet Russia, which is surprising because everything is scary in Soviet Russia.
Absolutely.
But clowns were like a happy thing. So I grew up like, oh yeah, clowns are great. And then I remember I changed my tune around high school because my friends started coming over and they're like, Greg, what the fuck?
Clowns are creepy.
Going on in your room. They just like they refused to sleep over at my place because of all the clowns.
So I never was weird about clowns because I actually had a neighbor across the street who on the weekends was Bozo the Clown.
Like
he used to do parties. And
the
all that stuff.
Bozo or just a Bozo?
A Bozo the Clown. Yeah.
Of course. Just your classic Bozo.
Yeah. So he was a clown though, and like he had his clown van and everything. It was just like that was his persona on the weekends, and it was just
the clown van.
Oh yeah, his own van. Like,
did it have windows?
This is back in the day when vans were not like
creepy
candy vans. You know, like hey, come in my van, little child.
I think it'd be funnier if he had like if you were like he had his clown car, just a tiny little vehicle that he would drive around with all his friends.
This was like a big like. One of those vans that like I picture people can like actually live in nowadays.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, with like the beds in the back and stuff.
It would fit it now. Like now they have beds, but back then it was just like a, typically 2 seats in the front, and just an open back area.
Bro,
right?
different times.
Yeah,
your parents just calling up clowns that pull up in vans to your birthday party.
It's wild.
Just so wouldn't happen now.
So getting off clowns, what type of magic were you into though? Like what was your specialty?
Oh, I did a lot of I actually really like stage magic because I was really into David Copperfield. I used to like David Copperfield even when I was in Ukraine. And my dad got me this VHS of David Copperfield in Ukraine. We were like the only people who had a VHS player. And it's funny because
you're so rich.
I know. I'm saying that like it's crazy, but I was born in 91. Like I'm not that old. I think in America, people had VHS players in 91, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was born in 85. I remember having
That's pretty common, right? We were like the only ones who had it. I don't know how, we weren't rich. I don't know what my dad did.
Don't ask, don't tell. Right?
Don't know. I don't know. But he did go to Turkey a lot. I'm not sure exactly what that was about. But one day he brought back a VHS player and I'm like, cool. And he got me a Tom and Jerry tape, which I still, by the way, huge fan of Tom and Jerry. Classic. And David Copperfield. Funny enough, when we were moving to America, my parents didn't know. They didn't know how to I was 7. How do you tell your kid, hey, we're moving to a whole new country because we're Jewish and they don't like Jews here. So they told me that we were moving to America.
You just tell them they're 7. I mean,
yeah. Look, let me explain to you anti-Semitism.
You're practically an adult already in Ukraine.
Exactly. So, I did have a job. I was working
I had a full-time job, but
I was working in the mines.
I didn't understand anti-Semitism at that time. So,
but they told me that we were going to America so I could work with David Copperfield. That was their pitch.
That is awesome.
And then I got here, and it took maybe 2 years before they revealed to me that was no longer the case.
Revealed to you that there is no Santa Claus.
There is no David Copperfield
in Minnesota.
Figment of your imagination.
There is a David Copperfield, but he's just not in Minnesota.
He's not here. So I actually have yet to meet David Copperfield. David, if you're watching this,
David,
I know he is. I know he is. David,
come on the podcast,
Bubby.
Come on the podcast. and we'll have you on, and Greg will sit in.
So I did a lot of stage. That's a long answer. I was really into stage magic. I mean, I did card tricks because I was like the easiest thing to actually perform, but I really loved, the pomp and circumstance of it all. Like I loved the performance. I had doves. I've owned 2 doves in my life. Did ChatGPT tell you that?
It did not.
Didn't think so.
Wow.
I'm
a little let down. I'm a little let down.
2 doves.
It did tell me though. 2 doves. Sorry.
2 of them.
2. Did they have names?
Yeah. The first, I was in high school when I got them. The first one was named Mercutio because I was reading Romeo and Juliet, and then he passed away. He was inbred, had kidney failure. So I got another dove and called him Romeo until I found out it was a girl. So then I was like trying to figure out if I need to change the name. It was a really interesting lesson in gender dynamics at
You learned a lot of things at such a young age.
Yeah.
And the other things that you did learn as far as at least your performance. And number 3 here, it says you're a versatile performer.
I would say that.
It says Greg is skilled at juggling.
I can juggle. Why does ChatGPT know that?
I don't know. That you do impressions.
I can do some impressions, sure.
I mean, you can do a Russian person.
That's for sure.
I've heard that. Pen spinning.
What? I do know how to do that. Well, yeah, because in magic, there's a lot of I never thought I would be talking about pen spinning on a podcast. In magic, there's a lot of flourishes. You gotta give them a show.
Yeah.
So I learned how to do
I've never even heard of pen spinning before.
I mean, there's a couple camps of magicians.
Yeah.
Some magicians really go down the route of illusions and magic and all of that kind of stuff. And then some magicians get really into the flourish part of it. So there's cardistry, juggling and doing the fans of the cards and cool stuff. And some of that is pen spinning and coin stuff. So I know how to do some of that.
Okay.
That just takes a lot of practice and a virginity that's lost late in life.
What's your best impression? Let's hear it.
Well,
one of your best ones.
I think one of my best ones is probably Christopher Walken, because when I was a kid, I was just a big fan. And I spent some time learning how to do a Christopher Walken impression.
Can you do any, do you have a specific dialogue that you do? Or
I'm just going to say whatever, yeah.
So Christopher, can you tell us what's your favorite style of popcorn?
I like the popcorn that is very buttery. It's got salt, maybe some garlic powder. You got to have the garlic powder. I'm going to get so much shit for being that's not a good Christopher Walken. It was better when my voice was different.
What about, do you enjoy kettle corn, though? I mean,
that's all right. It's a little sweet.
That's good.
I like savory. I actually I was almost in a Super Bowl commercial doing the Christopher Walken voice.
Really?
They had one I think it was last Super Bowl or the year before that. It's crazy. I was on check avail for it. So it was between me and one other person.
Yeah.
And I was flying to London while I was on check avail. So the whole time I'm flying to London, I'm thinking I might have to fly back tomorrow. But it's with everything in acting, it's I wasn't going to put off my trip for the maybe of getting booked for this thing.
No, we talked about that with Sierra in episode 7.
Yeah.
She had been trying to get a studio, a network show, sorry. And she had already booked a Hallmark movie. And so her agent was like, sorry, we can't do it. She's like, I've been trying to get on a network show forever.
You're on Hallmark now.
Figure out when the shooting is and all that stuff. And luckily it was the series was shooting in the morning and then the Hallmark was at night. And so
they were able to work it out.
She made it work, right? But
that's awesome.
But it's one of those things you cannot turn down opportunities like that.
No.
It's because it may lead to become what people know you for.
Yeah. Although I think I just turned down an audition. This is the first audition I ever turned down. And I'm looking at the producer / my manager to see if it's a good idea for me to explain what I would have had to do in that audition / movie. Yeah. Tell them.
Got the green light.
So I don't turn stuff down because any opportunity is good. And I mean, let me give you a little context. I have played a Ukrainian Nazi soldier that had to shoot a child at point blank range for a short film. So I don't turn things down. I'm down.
You're very versatile.
So versatile. and I honestly, and the way that I sort of think about it in my head is, as an actor, someone's got to play the monster. And if you can nail that monster, you're doing a good thing. Mm-hmm. If I can do an incredible Nazi soldier that you hate, great. Then that means I've done my people a good thing.
Yeah.
This audition was for what I imagine is a horror film. And they did it was nice. They were comprehensive. In the audition, they said there is full frontal nudity of a violent nature. And I don't so much have a problem with full frontal nudity. I've never done it, but I would. I'm not like super opposed to that. Because women have to do it all the time. Why is it so much wrong?
I mean, if you pay me right.
Yeah, I'll show you my
show you my ding dong.
Yeah. But this one, it was different. The part where we're just excited about ding dong. I mean, I'm in. I like that. This one, I would have had to. The way that I die, they sent a storyboard of my death, and I get captured by these people, and I am declothed, disrobed, along with my girlfriend in the movie, and then they both of us in the
dear Lord.
And then as I am getting
probed,
they take a knife and cut my stomach.
Wow.
Spilling my guts, which they then take and choke me with. And I was like,
that's wild.
I was like, I just don't look. Again, if you can nail that scene, great, right? But do I even want to?
Yeah.
And I'm a comedian. I would never live that down. Ever.
There's a lot of jokes going through my head about that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Leave them alone.
If that scene existed anywhere, and it was so funny. I was talking to my girlfriend about it. I was like, babe, I got this audition. What do you think? And her first question was like, does it pay well? And I'm like, it's SAG minimum. She goes, you could make more money stripping. And I said, that's true, actually.
There's a lot of things you can make money for doing that without having to get disrobed, probed, and then choked.
I just don't know. I don't know which part of that I didn't like more. Because again, individually, all of those things, like, I don't know, I could wrap my head around all of those things separately, but together.
Now, where does my mind go, though? My mind goes to, who did they get to do that role, and when does that film come out? Because
because we need to get it on.
I want to know who that. I want to know who that person is. I don't know if I want to get on a Momi tour now, but I just want to know who the person was that said yes to it. And have a conversation, maybe even have him on the podcast and be like, "Hey, we heard about you.
I heard
about your role."
I was thinking about that. I was like, I wonder who will, because I have to imagine I'm not the only one who probably passed on the audition. But here's the thing too. I read the script. I mean, I did my due diligence. That's what I call it.
Your due diligence.
I did my due diligence. I read the script. I read the sides. I read everything, and I actually liked the writing in the script. I thought the dialogue was snappy. I thought my character was multifaceted. It was interesting. So it was
everything up to that scene is like
up to the probing. Up to the probing.
I totally get it. Well, turning over to something that you've actually done, at least maybe. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but
I mean, I knew about pen spinning.
We're 3 for 3, so yeah, if we know about pen spinning, I'm sure this probably checks out. Number 4, television appearances that you've made.
Yeah.
Greg has appeared on NBC's Chicago PD.
That was my first big acting role. Yeah.
ABC's In an Instant Buried Alive.
Yeah, I think that was actually my first one. That was cool. That was shot in Minneapolis, and it was kind of like a docudrama. It was a series about people who almost died. And I played this Iowa farmer. This is a real story, who almost died in a corn silo, but he was rescued.
Yeah.
And so I was like the main character of this docudrama, and they like cut back and forth between, like a filmed interview of that guy. And it was cool. It's like a full 1 hour special that I was in.
Yeah. Going back to that previous role that you passed on, I'd almost want to maybe start another podcast called Why Did You Pass on This Role?
Why Did You Pass?
That'd be good. That's awesome. NBC, ABC got on some pretty solid shows.
Yeah, and then I was on
That's great.
NCIS after that,
Oh.
and The Rookie.
Yeah.
Briefly until I almost died in a motorcycle accident, and they
Oh,
recast me.
Wow.
Yeah, I was on my way.
Luckily, you're okay, but
Barely.
yeah, you made it kind of.
I'm actually better than okay. I had shot one scene, so it was like a multi-episode, like kind of a reoccurring. It's a small role, but it was reoccurring. And we had shot one scene in downtown LA, and they like blocked off streets, so it was like an expensive day of shooting. And then this was during COVID, and that was before Christmas. So then we all took however many weeks off for Christmas and New Year's, and then we were coming back in January. And I was just on my way to get a COVID test, and I was going through the intersection. This woman turned left in front of me. I got hit, ejected like 30 feet, broke like everything, including my knee, that I couldn't walk for 5-6 months. And then
were these the pants you were wearing too? Because
they look like it.
Yeah,
right?
they have some shreds in them.
Actually, those pants, I think I still have.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't have the jacket because they did they cut it open, and I don't know if they actually used the little things.
Defibrillator.
I think I was not like fully with it, but not unconscious. But I remember calling my agents, and I was like, "Hey, I'm in the hospital. I got in a really bad motorcycle accident." And they're like, "How soon you think you'll be able to walk? I mean, should we tell them like maybe pause for a week or two?" I'm like, "Well, I don't think."
Hey guys, I don't think I can make it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my brain is bleeding right now.
You should have told them yes. You should have been like, "Yeah, I think I can make it in a week," just to like show how persistent you are. Be like, "Hey guys, sorry, the bones haven't healed yet."
I've got 5 broken ribs, but you know what? I bet we could figure this out as long as there's no stunts.
So step number 5 of this ChatGPT number 5 says you're a candy sommelier. Greg has humorously referred to himself as a candy sommelier.
That's in my bio.
Showcasing his sweet tooth and comedic floor.
What?
Flair.
My comedic floor. That sounds
that's not spelled right.
Weird. That sounds dirty. I do love candy. I have a problem with it. I love candy. I just never grew out of that.
What's your favorite?
Oh man,
favorite candy?
In the chocolate category, in the gummy category. I mean,
it's the same thing with me in movies. See, it's all the genres.
Yeah, I mean, if we're in the chocolate space, I would say like Kinder Bueno, great candy.
Okay.
They also have this really great hippo that they released. It's like it comes in like a cardboard box, pack of 6 hippos. Check it out. In the gummy side of things, I'm a big fan of Haribo Twin Snakes.
100%.
So good, you know.
Anything Haribo, really.
Anything Haribo. They've really diversified their gummy portfolio.
Classic Haribo gummy bear.
Yeah,
just solid on that. And chocolate, you
ever bought the 6-pound bag?
No.
There's a 6-pound.
Didn't even know it
on
existed.
Amazon. You can get a huge.
I mean, I'm learning a lot of things about the world. I'm
learning
about
the Dark
about
Forest
6-pound gummy bags and about pen spinning.
Don't get the Dark Forest ones. They'll make you have gastric situations.
And that's what the Pepto's for.
That's why I keep it.
Just in case things get dark.
Look, when you eat as much candy as I do, you got to have some Pepto-Bismol on hand.
Yeah, that's I did not know there was a 6-pound bag. But as far as chocolate goes, Swiss white chocolate, like
Swiss white chocolate, really?
White chocolate.
Interesting.
I don't.
Sure.
My dad used to go to Europe when I was a kid, and he always brought back white chocolate for us because you could just never find good white chocolate in America.
That's so funny.
And so you could really find like German white chocolate, Swiss white chocolate, but like the Swiss white chocolate for whatever reason.
That's the stuff.
It was it.
When I studied abroad in Milan for a semester in college, and I had a good friend back home who was like, "Can you please bring me back some Swiss chocolate?" And I said, "Sure," because it was right there, Italy. I was in Switzerland probably 2 or 3 times while I was there, but I think I did the best thing I could. I brought him back. I brought him back a bag of Lindt truffles, which you can get at Target. So good.
Which are good, by the way, but
they're great. But I love.
You missed out.
But
you
I
missed
bought.
out
No,
Swiss
I did that on purpose. I sought them out. I bought them like a month before I went home, so I had to hold on to them, make sure I didn't. Which was the toughest part, was not eating them. That I kept them, and then I had to travel back to America with them and deliver. No, they were great, but it was his expression was, I can't. It was one of my best moments.
You should have got the Lindt, and then you should have gotten
No.
But
No, there was
like a month later, like after he's just like not happy with you, be like, hey, by the way, I did bring you some cool
no.
stuff.
I think he was proud of me for really committing to the bit.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're friends with me. You're gonna get a version of what you asked for. That's not what you want, but what you're gonna love.
You're like in Dumb and Dumber at the end where he spits it, turns it around.
Yeah,
Lovely. Commits to it. Let's see. Number 6 of this exercise, which is the word I was looking for earlier. Film festival success.
yeah,
Your short film, She Used to Laugh,
yeah,
won multiple awards at the Film Invasion Los Angeles
yeah.
and a town I know very well, Sherman Oaks Film Festival.
Sherman, both run by the same guy, Jeff Howard. Really great guy.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Jeff, how are you, Jeff?
Jeffrey.
Good to hear you. Good to see you, or you see us, because we can't see you. So tell us about that. She Used to Laugh. What is that about?
It was a short film that I did.
You directed, or did
I did all of it.
Okay,
I produced,
everything.
directed, wrote, acted in it, edited it.
Yeah.
I did all the things because it was cheaper that way. Classic indie filmmaking, right? It's a 10-minute short about, and it's available on Omleto. It's a YouTube channel.
Okay.
So it was a short film about this stand-up comedian who is kind of like going through a breakup, but he's talking about this relationship that he's in, and you slowly realize that they're no longer together. And the way that he presents it is, I was doing all the right things and she left because she didn't get me. You know, I'm an artist and she doesn't get me. But then I also wove in like cutaways to what inspired the joke. And you start to realize that he's a very unreliable narrator, that she was just trying to have a relationship with this partner who just wasn't there for her.
Interesting.
And at the end of the movie, my goal was for you to not really like the comedian, to be on her side, even though she never has any lines.
Yeah.
It's all montage flashbacks, but you know, he's telling the story as if he's just like this guy who just, you don't get me, but you could tell that he was kind of a piece of shit.
How long ago did you make that? Like what year was that in?
I made it right before the pandemic. So
Okay.
it did the full festival circuit during the pandemic. So most of the screenings were digital, online, and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually it landed on Omleto, which is, I mean, a pretty big platform for independent short films. And it was on their main channel for like 3-4 months, got a lot of really great love. I felt very validated, tons of really great comments and all that kind of stuff. And then they moved it to Omleto Drama, which is a much smaller channel, but
Yeah.
it's still available on YouTube.
Do you have the rights to it? That's like your baby?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah. I can take it down whenever I want. I mean, I can
And
do whatever
how-
I want with
How
it.
long is it?
10 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's start up the movie too. Let's have some fun.
I mean, I did it. I did it for 10 minutes because I had heard that was it was easy to program 10 minutes.
It is.
I wanted it to be 15, but then I just, I was ruthless, cut so much
depends on the
crap out of it. Yeah.
program and- yeah. I mean, it depends, but
I'm proud of it. I think
awesome.
that is what the success of that movie, because really it felt like I just sort of made the decision to do it. And I worked with my friend Nick Murphy, who's an incredibly talented director and camera guy and just a really creative person. And, he was like, why don't we just make this? And I was like, okay, fine. And I didn't really have all that much experience in it, but I figured, you know what? I know how to send emails. I know how to ask questions. I'll make some phone calls and figure it out. So we shot the stand-up stuff at Cantor's Deli, actually, in the Kibitz room, which was so cool that they let us use it for a couple hours on a morning. Actually, Lloyd was one of my extras.
very cool.
He came and sat and watched me do that 10-minute set 3 times in front of like 11 people.
And guys, if you're not knowing who's you're referring to, Lloyd J. Schwartz, who we had on episode 13? No. Episode 14.
And I introduced you to.
Yeah.
I was the guy who made that connection. So what a cool thing that it all kind of came back around,
that
and
is such
now
a
we're.
cool
I'm still in
circle
touch
moment.
with Lloyd. I love that guy. He's great.
Great dude. Had a really fun time on his episode and learning a little bit more about
He's
like,
amazing.
the Brady Bunch. And so
He's
if you
probably
haven't checked
one
out
of-
that episode, check out Lloyd's episode. It's a lot of fun.
Like one of the most prolific Like he's just always writing. Like I'll show up to his house and be like, I wrote 3 new movies. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I was like, how do you do that so effectively? He goes, oh, I don't write them. The characters do. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
He told us that too.
That's right.
Dude's a legend.
Of course.
Dude's a legend. All right. Next one on here, number 7. The creator of the advice panel.
Ah, yes.
You
the
host
advice
the advice
panel.
Tell us a little bit about the advice panel. What is
The
that?
advice panel is a show that I started at Soho House, actually. It was actually, I think, the first advice panel I did right after my motorcycle accident. In fact, I did that show and I still wasn't able to walk. I think I crutched my way into the Soho House because we had it booked. Essentially, the premise of the show is, and it's evolved since then, but it's I just get a panel of comedians, maybe 3-4 comedians, to sit on a panel, and then I created this page on my website that you can access through a QR code, which I give everyone in the audience, and then they can ask 3 anonymous advice questions, and they all get immediately like kind of pumped into an Excel spreadsheet that sits in the back of the room with my question master, who is usually my girlfriend Rachel, because she has an incredible like little British accent, and so she like asks these questions from the back of the room, and I love it because all of the comedians on stage hear the questions at the same time as everyone in the audience, so we all get to like experience it at the same time, and people ask some wild questions. And so we just give advice. And then recently what I've been doing is I've been leaving an empty chair on the panel. And after we do a couple questions, I start cycling people in from the audience to sit on the panel.
That's fun.
And so eventually, they start sitting on the panel. And then, we've had shows where people have called their mom, and put their phone up to the microphone. It's just a big,
after people have had like 2 or 3 drinks and like,
it's a good time. And I've done that show since then. So since 2022, I've done it for 3 years now at, tons of different, all of the Soho houses in LA, pretty much all of them in New York. In fact, I've done it in London at the Soho House in London on Dean Street.
I did see some snippets of that.
And I'm actually doing it again in September. So I'm going back to London because I spend like a month, 2 months there every year. And I'm doing it again in the very first Soho House ever created. So I'm really excited. Cool. It's going to be super cool. That's a fun show.
And where's the first Soho House? What city?
It's in London.
It's in London. Okay.
Yeah, it's a London thing. I think it's actually not too far from the one I did it last time. The last time I did it on Dean Street, 76 Dean Street, which is the second one. But this is the other one. I don't even know.
I guess I'm going to have to fly to London.
Craig might come. You guys, we should all come.
Hey.
Yeah, have a little London trip.
A little team trip. Look at
and
that.
Rachel knows that city so well, so we'll have a great time. We'll go to Stormzy's house party. It's going to be great.
Let's do it.
It's going to be lit. It's just for Craig. It's going to be lit.
It's going to be lit. Number 8. And we'll speed it up a little bit here. Innovative show concepts. Greg produced the show about you.
Oh, yeah.
A personalized comedy show based on audience members' responses to a questionnaire.
Yeah, I did that right before the pandemic.
Right before.
Yeah, so I've always really been into this idea of like interactive comedy shows. I think there's so much there, and I think everyone is getting further and further into personalized entertainment. And so the show about you was such a fun thing, but entirely unscalable, because I had people buy tickets to the show and I wrote a questionnaire that they had to answer when they bought their tickets. And then all of that data I put into a Google Drive folder, and there was me and like 6 other people. And we all wrote sketches and stand-up and comedy about that information. And we did some wild stuff. Like I did this thing where I had them describe themselves as they would describe themselves to like a blind date or something, like what they looked like. And I took those descriptions and sent them to like Singapore and had someone draw pictures based on those descriptions.
Wow.
I took people's Instagrams and like photoshopped them into each other's Instagrams. I found all the video I could find of everyone from the audience and put together like a audition reel, like I was auditioning the audience.
Yeah.
And I found some old like high school rap songs that some people in the audience, it was so funny. And every person in the audience was mentioned. So in between each sketch, the room was silent because everyone was like, am I going to be the next person? Like, am I going to be the next person that gets
Yeah.
called out? This was really fun.
That sounds
But
like a lot of fun.
it was like,
But it wasn't scalable.
I mean, it took like a month. It takes a long time to write all of that material.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I could do it if there was. I think the way to do that show at a scalable format is to have people constantly submitting information.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you do is you just do kind of like a monthly show and put it, and I think it would have to be online. So you would just watch every month and go, is this the month that I get mentioned?
To make sure, yeah. Number 9. You're a tattoo artist, is what it says.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a tattoo artist.
Yeah, beyond doing comedy, Greg is also a tattoo artist, showcasing his diverse, and I will say diverse
Diverse
very
skill set.
eclectic
Yeah,
creative talents.
it became a thing after my accident because I was stuck on a couch for 5-6 months and had nothing to do. And I mean, after I read a book or two, first time I'd read in over a decade, and all of my friends were like, dude, you want me to like bring you my PS5 or something? I'm like, I can't. I'm not going to spend the next 5 months playing video games. It was just never my thing.
Yeah.
And so I remember my sister was in town. This was right when I got in the accident. So she just came to help take care of me. And I gave her my credit card and was like, go to the Apple store, get me an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil. And I just took that 5-6 months to learn how to draw. And then when I could walk again, I started going to tattoo shops, try to get an apprenticeship, which is not easy. And I just found this shop that was really close to where I lived at the time. And they were kind of like struggling to get their name out there and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, I know all kinds of stuff about social media and video content and all that stuff. Let me help you.
Yeah.
In exchange, teach me how to tattoo. And so I learned. And now I tattoo.
That is so cool.
And now I'm trying to work a way to like weave it into like the fabric of when I go travel for stand-up. When I go to a new city for stand-up, I can do that at night. But during the day, I'm just sitting around. So sometimes you got to take some time away from masturbating to go and do something with your life. So make some extra money.
Wow. Yeah. Getting a hobby and
but you use the same hand, so it's fine. It's like the hand is still occupied.
Yeah, you're just doing it with a pen. It's just 3-finger grip.
Just know that when I'm tattooing you, it's to keep my hand occupied. I can't believe I said that.
Take my good hand.
This is my problem, is that in my brain, once I think something, I can't unthink it. I have to say it.
And you know what? Every single person listening to this is understanding and relating to that, but would probably never say it. So good for you. Congratulations. This is why
everyone does it. We should all talk about it more.
The last but not least, we'll move away from that topic.
So funny. ChatGPT is like, Greg is a frequent master.
I mean, it says it right here.
I'm kidding.
It knew. Greg's, we're talking to Craig, but Greg's debut stand-up special, Here for a Bit, is set to release in 2025.
Yeah, that's. I love how ChatGPT is as hopeful as I am. You write that in, and you're like, I just hope that's true.
So we got our first maybe.
Let's just make that happen.
We got our first maybe. I think we should make it happen.
I think we could make it happen. I mean,
I've seen snippets of it.
That's right,
and I think it's incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I absolutely think you crushed it.
It came together so organically, but also really quickly in the sense that, like, I mean, I went from not knowing that I was going to do a stand-up special to on stage performing it in 3 weeks.
Wow. That's impressive.
It's just like what happened. And it was because the short version of that story is there was a play in Hollywood called Reefer Madness, the musical. Mm-hmm. And my friend Brian was in it, and I went to go see it. I went to see it before I went to London, and because I was there last year, like August, September-ish, and I loved the venue. I mean, it really stuck with me. It was such a cool space. It felt very immersive. It had multiple stages, and it had this like X walkway through the middle that I just thought was so interesting.
I couldn't help but think about Magic Mike. Just because they're like the multiple stages.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you were moving around.
I was, and I liked that. I thought, like, excuse me, I was like, there's just not enough. There's not enough of like inventiveness, I think, sometimes with stand-up. I mean, Neil Brennan did the 3 mics thing, and Bo Burnham does a lot of stuff that's like that. But I wanted to try something different, and I am such a maximum effort, minimum effect kind of guy, unfortunately. But that space really stuck with me. And then I went to London and was just kind of thinking, maybe that'd be kind of cool. And then when I came back, I found out that Reefer Madness was closing in October, but they had the space for an extra 2-3 weeks. But at that point, I had been introduced to all of the producers. In fact, I tattooed one of the producers from that show while I was in New York. I was tattooing at Inked Studio in Manhattan, and I just got that guy to come in, and I tattooed him, and we just kind of developed a friendship. And as soon as I found out they were closing and the space was available, I reached out to everyone. I'm like, hey, can I maybe shoot a special? And they're like, you'd have to do it by this date. And I'm like, oh shit, that's like Halloween's in there. Like, that's not going to be easy. But Craig and I were looking at each other going like, okay, either I say no to this and like start thinking about it and put it together, or we just say yes and fucking do it. Let's just do it. And then we just said yes. And so from that moment, I started making phone calls, and suddenly I had to get a camera crew together, and I had to, and I've been doing stand-up for 15 years. I had all the material, but I hadn't thought about how I was going to structure the show, where the jokes were going to go. So I did
what animal you were going to kill to wear for the opening set.
Exactly.
The opening monologue, which was not quite a monologue. It was
not quite,
a rap song.
A rap.
So.
Also a foray into rap suddenly for no reason, which is a rap I wrote in London, having no idea that was going to be the opening to the special. It was just like, well, I have this, I might as well.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll catch some people's attention.
Yeah.
And so we just did it. And I remember Craig came over to my apartment building, which also Craig set me up with. And there was this like community room, and I did a full run of the special for like 6 people on a random Wednesday night, just to see if I had it in me, if it was going to come together. And everyone was like, hey, that's really good. And I was like, all right, we're doing this.
You need to do that.
We're doing this.
So cool.
So we did it. And
I can't wait for it to drop. And we'll have to talk more about that.
Yeah.
But let's maybe find out how funny you are.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
Is this going to be one of those, oh, you're a comedian, tell me a joke?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
No, let's not do that, because that's boring. Let's play a little game that I have prepared here, because I honestly wanted to find out how funny you were.
Okay. That's no pressure.
This is a little segment we call, well, as of today, because it's the first time we're doing it, called Let Me Finish. And I'm not going to let you have any say on that name.
Will you just let me finish?
Yeah, let me finish.
Come on, please let me finish. Is it better like, let me finish?
We can record it and get your voice over there. I love that. All right, so I have 5 sentences, 5 random sentences.
Okay.
And I'm going to read off the beginning of them, and you're going to finish them for us.
All right, let me really get
ready.
My mind in the present moment.
Got the whistle wet.
Yes, my whistle is wet and I'm ready to finish.
This
You
episode is
You did that. I
going
didn't
to
do
hell. All right, number 1. Every time I try to act normal in public, somehow I end up with a goat, a jar of peanut butter, and
a sticky hand. You can decide what that means.
We getting a thumbs up or a thumbs down on that one, Craig? Thumbs up? All
2
right.
thumbs
2
up.
thumbs up. A sticky hand. From the peanut butter or from the goat?
Both.
All right.
Wait, you've never... You know what? We'll talk about it after.
You've never goated before?
You've never... yeah, the classic peanut butter
goat.
on the goat.
Of course. Number 2. Oh, goodness.
I thought these sentences were going to be like, the other day, I didn't know how to... but
This is just going in a fun direction.
All right, let's see.
I knew the date was going downhill fast when she leaned in close and whispered, "Let me finish." We can do better than that.
When she leaned in close and whispered, I can save you a lot of money by switching to Geico.
That's good. There, I love it. I love it. Let's get some hand claps over that one. There we go.
I don't think that's the actual quote from the commercial, though. Ew.
Yeah, figured out. Luckily, we're not sponsored by them. Number 3, my boss.
Are they not part of your small business shout outs?
Yeah, we haven't quite gotten to them yet. They're on the list.
Okay, good.
All right, number 3, my boss told me I need to be more professional at work. So naturally, I
only fart in his office.
That's good. That's good. Do you smell the popcorn?
Ugh, man, potty humor. You know what? Potty humor, universal. You can tell a fart joke to any person of any culture, always funny.
It's true. Absolutely.
People think that, you got to be above potty humor.
Doesn't matter.
That is some basic level hilarity.
Doesn't matter if you're 3 or 30.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Someone chuckled at that.
Number 4, at my funeral, I just want someone to stand up and loudly say,
oh, man. Say it one more time so I can hear the flow of it.
at my funeral, I just want someone to stand up and loudly say,
This is a hard one because it's like a black box. Anything, there's so many directions. There's no leading. I like him better this way.
there we go.
That's funny. If someone stood up and loudly said that at my funeral,
I would like to
this
say
is
it's
his
like,
best role yet.
I wish he didn't pass on that role.
Man, if only we had some footage of him getting probed to
Lord.
play for all of you folks right now.
Number 5, and the last one here. I once tried to impress someone by quoting Shakespeare, but instead I accidentally said,
I'm soft. What light through yonder window breaks?
oh man, that's good. I like that. That was good. Craig, thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up. Love it. I hope everyone's laughing as hard as we are.
I've given up on that hope.
Awesome. Well, that was Let Me Finish, a new segment that we were trying out with
It's pretty good.
Very
It's fun, but there's like the silence after you stop reading and I say the words is deafening.
It's okay.
But
yeah, so that was our new segment. Let Me Finish.
That was fun.
And as far as finishing goes, I always give my guests an opportunity to kind of take over the limelight of the show, look into the camera, and just let people know where they can find you, because I want to make sure people know where they can find Greg Berman.
Before we do that,
Yeah.
can we take one of those
Yes.
and put them into ChatGPT and let ChatGPT finish it and see if it's funnier than me?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Which one do you want to do?
I don't know. Which one's the best? Maybe the funeral is the funeral. Which one did I have the hardest time with?
Probably the
The funeral, right?
Okay. It's after saying this, it says, then sit back down like nothing happened. So it says, at my funeral, I just wanted someone to stand up and loudly say, he owed me $40 and a quesadilla.
Mine was better.
I like it better. Let's do it and say.
All right, I guess ChatGPT isn't taking my job anytime soon. I'm still the king of punch up.
do this
The
funnier.
king of punch ups.
And the Wi-Fi password is buried with him, and so are all your nudes. ChatGPT.
It tries too hard. It's got very pick me energy.
This is why AI is not good for everything. People got to learn that you need to go to a true comedian to find.
You know what AI is good at when it comes to comedy is analysis of jokes. So for the special, what I was doing a lot as I was preparing for it is I would tell ChatGPT my jokes, and I would have it explain to me what it got from it and how it, like, if it made sense, if it was clear, and if there was anything that it thought could be tighter. So it's good at the analysis side of things, but it's not great at the generation side of things.
Which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not human.
Comedy is a delicate and comedy is so much about reading the room. So you have to know what the people here are going to think is funny, as opposed to
100%. Which is why AI cannot take over for writers. Writers bring a true, authentic.
right. Well, when the writing demands character, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you don't need character. Sometimes you just want some stuff. Anyway, okay. What am I? I'm talking to the camera and I'm saying where people can find me.
Greg Berman, where can we find you, and how can people just know more about you?
So you can. So I do move around quite a bit just throughout the day. So but a lot of times I'm in downtown Los Angeles. Check my location. I'll share it with you. Just send me a request. I'm not worried. You can find me on Instagram. Greg Berman is funny. I have this really great posting schedule of once a month. You're going to love it.
Solid influencer.
You can find me on TikTok. I post even less frequently there. Greg Berman is funny. I have a website, www.gregberman.com. I have a podcast that I used to do called Greg's Guided Meditations, which is available on Spotify and Apple Music, where I do comedy meditations. There's 43 episodes, and they are weird. Worth checking out, maybe.
Maybe we'll have to shout it out as our podcast promotion. Who knows?
And then also, I just started a podcast called Show and Teller with my rabbi. That's right. You heard that correctly. I have a podcast with a rabbi. He's really cool. He's young and hip and gorgeous. And we are just two hunky gentlemen talking about Jew stuff. So you should check it out.
Would you say the podcast is very kosher?
It is kosher. Yeah. I mean, other than my tattoos, it's pretty kosher.
Love it. He's blessed it.
We have a let's not talk about it kind of agreement where he'll every now and then because we're really good friends. We work together now for 8 years, and he'll be like, "Is that a new one, Greg?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." He goes, "Nice." We talk about other stuff.
Love it.
But cool. It's great. You can find Show and Teller on YouTube. It'll be on Apple Music and Spotify. We're literally 3 episodes in, so we're building it now. Check it out.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing with us about everything about your life and confirming ChatGPT about knowing who you are and for playing.
It's pretty good.
Kind of fun little game.
Yeah.
As well. But with that, we will be right back.
Being a small business is difficult, and that's why every episode we pick a different small business that either we enjoy or a guest enjoys and give them a little shout out. And for today, since Greg is quite the spicy character, we picked a hot sauce company out of New York called Señor Lechuga Hot Sauce. And this stuff is well backed as far as reviews go, and it looks spicy as so go check them out and buy a couple bottles for you, your family, and your friends at señorlechugahotsauce.com, or check them out on Instagram and see what their page is all about. And as for now, let's get back into the pod.
So, Mr. Berman, we are back.
That's me. For the astute observers, I've now switched which leg is on top.
I've noticed that.
I was back and forth a little bit there.
Would you like to play a game?
Another?
Let's set it for you.
I'm so down.
Called This or That.
Let's do it. What do I win? Another beer.
Yes, 100%.
Great.
But before we get into that, I just want to let you know and let our audience know that this segment is brought to you by Coastline Travel.
Oh.
So if you're looking to go anywhere in the world,
I am.
If you're looking for flights, hotels, or even some fun excursions,
sounds great.
Go to coastlinetravel.com and they'll take care of you.
Amazing.
They don't charge any fees. They just get all their cuts like all the other places do from the hotels and the airlines. So they literally just will do all the work for you and take care of you.
That sounds great. I'm going to do that.
They're wonderful. They do all my travel.
Tonight.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
You should.
Fine.
If you're going to, let me know.
Maybe I will.
I might happen to know some people there.
Okay, don't yell at me.
I won't. I will yell at you now, though, because we are going to go into our first.
Oh,
pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, right in there.
Landed right in the car.
Right in the trash can. I'll try. That'll be a new thing. I'm going to try to shoot for it every time now.
Literally the one with your name on it.
Yeah. Take a picture of that.
Take a picture of that. That'd be great. Great for the content.
Yeah.
We ask our guest the first question every time.
Mm-hmm.
Same question. All the rest of them are just fun and tailored toward you. So the first question here is tacos or pizza?
Pizza. I got to go pizza because I like tacos, but if you had said burritos or pizza, it'd be harder.
But good. We're going with pizza.
I think I'm going
Love
pizza.
It. Live in a tree house or live in a houseboat?
Oh, man. Tree house. I love a good view. And yeah, that sounds cool.
If you had a houseboat, you'd have to have another boat.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of hassle. I know houseboats take
Houseboats are fun, though.
upkeep. It's
They're fun.
Can I? All right, yeah, treehouse.
It's like, can I have a maid live on the boat
Yeah.
too?
Can I have a boat in the tree? Can I have my treehouse look like a boat?
Ooh, that's nice. Have you seen those like airplanes that people have like turned like they
Dude,
airplane
my
just turned into a
dream-
full house and everything? Like,
My
on a
dream
cliff?
is to buy like an old firehouse or a church or like a prison
Yeah.
and turn it into a house.
Oh, I've seen people do that. Yeah.
I want to do it. That's what I
Great.
want to do.
That's great. Fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses.
Man, at no point did I know where that sentence was going.
I didn't either.
You were
I
saying
didn't either.
duck-sized horse or 100
One horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses.
Oh man, I mean, if I'm trying to win, probably the first one, a horse-sized duck. I think I could take it.
That's a big duck.
Yeah, but like,
Those bills are huge.
think about all those horses coming.
I know, right?
100 duck-sized horse. Ducks are still like big. Think about like
They're pretty decent.
like
size,
100
yeah.
dogs attacking you.
It's true.
And horses are strong. They'll probably still be pretty strong at duck size.
Yeah. I mean,
That's my guess.
Yeah,
And those hooves, they're sharp. Ducks don't have a lot of sharp stuff. Punch that shit in the beak, spin it around like.
what about duck-sized gorillas? Can you with the whole gorilla
Oh
question
man!
going on?
Oh yeah, the 100 guys
Gives you
versus one
100 guys
gorilla.
versus one gorilla. Yeah, it's
Apparently, you only need like a good 30 guys, and you can take one down.
yeah. There was another debate that went on like how many people, like 100 British people or 100 Americans.
Oh, definitely, I'd fight the Americans before the Brits. They're
There was
wild.
but there was a whole thing like this one woman said like, oh no, you only need 30 Americans, and then she like went off on like the certain person from Jersey.
Oh,
another
yeah, yeah.
person from
Who-
Texas, like
who you'd want,
specifically
yeah.
who you'd want, yeah. So I was like, that's pretty good, but you get like 100.
This used to be different. I those questions used to be way weirder. Like it used to be like, would you rather fight like 100 toddlers or 100 elderly people?
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's keep going. They might get weirder. Always have to sing instead of talk, or dance everywhere that you walk.
Definitely sing because I'm a terrible dancer, which Craig will confirm. And I think I could probably I think I'd be better off singing than trying to shimmy into
If you had
rooms.
to dance all the time, though, you would get better at dancing. I would hope.
Not me. Look
I
at
would-
these limbs. I'm like a
Like a-
wacky inflatable arm
like
tube
a
man over here.
Baby giraffe trying to catch a beat. Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
I'm a waffle guy too.
They
They're so
hold
good.
the syrup so well in
They
those
do.
squares, the little pools.
Yeah, and I just
And
can't,
it-
I can't get pancakes to be fluffy enough. I just can't do it.
And it's got like a perfect grid for cutting. You can like, that's
Yeah.
the OCD inside
One,
of my
one stick of butter per opening
Yeah.
of the waffle too. One viral clip or a lifetime of solid listeners.
Definitely the last one, the second one.
The listeners.
Yeah. Viral clip that comes and goes. A lifetime of listeners, an audience forever.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's like Hawk Tua or
No.
no. She goes away.
Whatever the second option
Have we
is.
heard of Hawk Tua a second time? No.
Haktua
She's
or
been Hawk One. Is really what it's been.
it'd be like Haktua or doing a movie where you get probed and then had your stomach cut out. I'd be like, shit, man, it's still the second one. I think
Sign me up for the probe.
Yeah, sign me up for the probe.
Guest star on a serious drama or get pranked on a reality show.
Serious drama for sure. Yeah, I love serious acting. If you look at my acting reel, it's mainly serious stuff because I look like a dude who like kills people. So I book a lot of very dramatic dudes with guns kind of stuff, and I actually really enjoy it. I love playing a villain. Anyone watching this? Let me play a villain. I
Book
like
him.
being the bad guy.
Book him.
Book him.
Be best friends with a ghost or a raccoon in a hoodie.
Probably the ghost because I feel like there'd be better use cases for that. Like you can get that ghost to go like listen to people, spy on shit. Raccoons and hoodies, I feel like there's no way they're reliable friends.
Little trash.
There's no way.
Little trash pandas.
No way they're reliable. I really value a reliable friend.
Love it.
I don't know. I'm making assumptions about ghosts. Maybe they're not super reliable. I mean, they died, so they did something wrong.
I mean, is it like a Casper the friendly ghost, or is it
Yeah, how old were they when they died? That's
an evil
important.
one that haunts you every night?
exactly.
Like, doesn't let
Oh, but
you
you're
sleep?
friends with it.
Yeah, that's true. But friends, I mean,
Yeah,
kinda
there's
mess with
evil
too.
friends that haunt you,
there's-
yeah.
there's some evil friends out there. Sleep in a bounce house or eat every meal in a hot tub?
Oh, I would eat meals in a hot tub. I think I could do that.
Like
Sleeping
the Welshly arms.
in the Welshly arms, lovers.
Hello, lover.
Hello, lover.
Oh, that's one of my favorite skits of all time.
Our bellies filled with goat meats.
Bringing back the goat. Would you rather perform comedy while doing magic or while juggling?
Oh God, magic! I've done that. It's not too bad. Juggling would be
I've seen some AGT acts that have been good.
that do comedy while juggling.
No, did you do comedy while they're doing magic? I
Magic
think
is
it's-
a classic delivery mechanism for
Yeah.
comedy.
and it takes your eyes away from, like, you're
Yeah,
deceptively taking away from what your hands are doing, kind of thing, by making people laugh.
yeah, and there's also all kinds of stuff to. I mean, that's what crowd work is, just talking to the audience or having a reason to talk to the audience.
Yeah.
That's the big thing with crowd work. Like, I think good crowd work is when whatever you go to with the audience is more than just like, what do you do for a living? You know,
Yeah.
like, because otherwise it becomes the same thing. Oh, what are you? You're a lawyer? Fuck you. You probably lie a lot. You fucking asshole. I bet you don't have sex. What about you? What do you? You know, like, that's what crowd work feels like to me. But with magic, you have a reason to talk to these people.
Yeah.
So there's so much interaction there that could be
And you
funny.
can make up things with, like, the cards.
Yeah,
if it's
yeah,
a queen
yeah.
of hearts or it's a
And
two
it's
of spades
magic.
or whatever.
It's
Yeah.
novel. There's so much funny. Yeah,
True.
definitely the first one.
Give advice to your younger self or get advice from your older self. I love this question.
Oh man, that's great. I love getting advice because this falls into the time travel paradox.
Yeah.
If I give advice to my younger self, I still would have ended up the same shithead I am now.
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe.
'Cause in
I don't-
theory,
I don't
whatever
think- I don't
advice I
think you're
gave
much
my-
of a shithead, though. You need to give yourself some more credit.
You're right. I'm very self-flagellating.
That's a good word.
Fun word, right?
Hey,
Kind
flagellating.
of sounds dirty.
Always have a laugh track or suspenseful music follow you.
Oh, definitely the second one. The laugh track would be so annoying. But to walk into a room and have it go, and everyone,
Yeah.
can everyone else hear it?
Yeah.
Definitely the second one.
Yeah.
100%.
Or like you walk into the full frontal nudity and then it's just a laugh track.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, I think I want to get my own laughs. I don't want a laugh track.
yeah, love it. Mel Brooks or Monty Python?
Oh, Mel Brooks. I think someone would kill me if I said the other one. As a Jewish comedian, that would be
He's so good.
devastating. Lloyd would probably walk through that door right now.
He would probably
What
come
did
right
you
through.
say?
He could probably hear you right now. Yeah, Mel Brooks is so talented.
Brilliant.
I mean, Monty Python is also
Amazing. Yeah, the
Phenomenal.
Holy Grail, all of that stuff. But
and obviously I chose Monty Python especially with your time in London. But
Yeah.
Mel Brooks is so good.
he's
And I love I love in Robin Hood Men in Tights when he's playing the rabbi and he's going around giving brisses and has the wine and everything. It's so good.
I think Mel Brooks's humor feels so effortless.
Yeah.
That's what I really want to embody in my comedy is the effortlessness of it. I mean, Monty Python still feels effortless in how silly they can get and it doesn't feel put on.
Yep.
But Mel Brooks is just so grounded in how funny he is.
Yeah.
You just know that he just gets it. He gets comedy at a level that is so, I think that he sees the world like the Matrix, but comedy.
Yeah.
He sees the code.
Only speak in riddles or only respond with movie quotes?
That's funny. Probably the second one, honestly.
Movie quotes?
Yeah, because
Guys kind of already do it anyways.
yeah. The riddles would be just annoying. I feel like no one would ever want to talk to me. Hey, can you bring me that thing that looks like a clock but has 3 hands? Yo, fuck you, Greg. You know what? Fuck you. I'm not bringing you anything.
I'm not coming over here ever again.
Ever again. You got the riddles and these clowns. I don't like this.
Here's a simple one. Ice cream. You doing a cup or a cone?
Oh, I love a cone.
Good one. What kind of cone, actually? Because I'm
The sugar cones.
the waffle cones.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You ever been to Handles before?
No.
I go to Handles.
No. Okay.
I know they have them in Orange County. I've been to numerous ones in Orange County, but yeah. Handles ice cream.
You know what I love is the ones that have So there's the cone that's like this, and then it gets like wider here. You know, like the classic ice, like the soft serve cone. But there's also the one that's like, it looks like it's like a wrapped waffle crepe thing.
Interesting.
But sometimes they put chocolate at the bottom of it, you know, and then there's ice cream, and there's chocolate in there, and then ice cream.
Like you mean the full wrapped around waffle cone?
Yeah, those are great. Well, but sometimes the cones could be those like weird little waffle cups, you know, that like taste like cardboard.
I'm talking about the big man.
Yeah, that's the
hold like 3 scoops of ice cream in kind of thing.
I just had to make sure we were talking about the same cone. I wouldn't want to let everyone out here know.
If I'm gonna have a cheat day, I'm gonna do it right. Improv or stand up?
You know, tough. I would say stand up. I mean, that's what I do, but I do love improv. I think it's not like structured though. I'm more a fan of just like off the dome.
Yeah. But with your shows you kind of do improv with stand up, so it's kind of fun. A little bit of mix of both. Heckler battle or silent crowd survival?
So what are either of those things?
So would you rather, like, while you're doing stand up, have a heckler battle? So like battling with hecklers in your crowd, giving you a hard time, or
just a silent
crowd survival where you're telling jokes and no one's crickets?
Oh yeah, I'd fight some hecklers. I'm down for that. Although honestly, I don't get a lot of hecklers at my shows. I think I'm just so palatable,
so likable. Everyone loves me. Write alone or collaborate in chaos? You like writing alone or you like collaborating?
I like collaborating. I think I do better. I like to. I'm a big fan. I think that everyone has something to contribute, and I'm such a project-oriented person. I have no ego when I'm working on something. So, like, if you have a cool idea, I want it.
Yep, love it. This is probably it's a tough one for me to answer if I was a stand-up comedian. But would you rather perform, or not just perform, but what do you prefer? The Comedy Cellar in New York, or the Laugh Factory in LA?
Oh, I mean, I've never performed in the Comedy Cellar, but I'd love to do that.
Have you been there before, though?
Yeah, many times. I would definitely choose the Comedy Cellar.
Have you been to have you performed at Laugh Factory already?
Yeah, I've done the Laugh Factory. It's great. I mean, I think the tougher question would be Cellar versus Comedy Store.
Okay.
Like the main stage at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Craig, let's work on that. Let's call the people. Yeah. Let's call Mitzi.
She's waiting.
She's waiting.
Hey, Mitz. Come on, make it happen. Your own residency and comedy club in Vegas, or go on a sold-out world tour.
Definitely the second one. I love to travel.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Also, Vegas is whatever.
But I mean, if you got your own
you're
club,
just doing a bunch of
cool, right?
Yeah, but like if you're doing a Vegas show, you're doing Vegas for people in Vegas, and I don't know if I like the people in Vegas.
That's a good point.
But I would go. But if at all the different cities, I would love to have a tour in a bunch of cities where people going like, I want to see Greg.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing that I am just like. That's the dream.
You want to relate to a lot of audiences.
Yeah,
love that.
I'm at a place in my career where the people who come to my shows, some of them might know who I am, but most of them don't. And so I have to do a lot of like groundwork at the beginning of my set. And it would be so nice to just show up in a room where people already have a good idea of who I am. So I can just kind of like, I don't have to worry about laying the pipes of making sure that they know that I'm not an asshole and that so that I can play with it.
I will say, like, there's 2 comedians right now that just had world tours, right? You had Matt Rife and Andrew Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
And both hilarious in their own ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun to watch. You're ready to pop. But I just say, like,
he laughed because he laughed.
There are Craig. Do we have to get him in the other room? So, what I mean with those 2 is that they didn't just do their comedy sets. Like, it was fun to watch them interact with different cultures.
Yeah.
And some of their jokes were tailored towards different cultures. And I think that was really
entertaining. I actually love the one thing. I'll give both of them a lot of credit for truly being unapologetic about who they are. And I think that's cool. Like, when it comes to comedy, confidence is so important. And I think it's pretty clear if you've been listening to this episode or watching it that I love to shit on myself. It's something I'm working on, but I look at those guys and I go, I want that kind of confidence. I want to get up there and just be like, what I'm talking about is hilarious, whether you like it or not. And I think that both of those guys, and that's why they're doing world tours, because they have that kind of confidence. So I'll give them all the credit in the world for that.
Cool. Well, this has been fun. A fun little segment. And if you're planning on going anywhere in the world for your tour, make sure you go to coastlinetravel.com to book all your flights, hotels.
Will you stop yelling at me?
Just do it already. But with that, we will go to the next segment.
Let's do it.
Promoting your podcast is hard. And that's why each episode we take a moment to promote a different podcast that either we enjoy or a guest enjoys. And with today's episode being Greg Berman, we had to shout out his podcast, or one of his many podcasts. This guy can't stop doing podcasts. But we wanted to shout out his newest one called Show and Teller. And it's about him and his rabbi that sit down and talk about life and the different intricacies that kind of go on, like Greg's tattoos and him getting more of them, and his rabbi not being okay with it. So it's a really fun one, and you should definitely check this out after you check this episode out. So go find him on the Show and Teller podcast. And as for now, let's get back into the pod.
All right, so we're back, and we are going to review a movie that you picked on.
Yes.
The
wait, before we do that, I have a gift.
yeah.
I have a gift for you.
Ooh, I like gifts. Look at you hiding something back there.
I have here for you a t-shirt from my stand-up special taping.
Look at that.
It's a picture of me in
there's the dead animal.
the dead animal that I
love it.
wore.
That's awesome.
And this is a shirt that was not purchased. So I got all these shirts. Like, oh, everyone's gonna want a shirt.
Yeah.
They didn't.
You're going to...
So this is for you. And then also
That's
this
awesome.
this notebook I made. I made a bunch of notebooks because the tattoo stuff. I got into this thing called lino cut, like block printing. So I cut this image out of a piece of rubber and then stamped a bunch of these notebooks. So this
That is
is
so
a
cool.
one of a kind 12th of the 15 that I made.
I remember doing stuff like this in 8th grade.
I'm
Like,
doing
where
it
you had
in
to,
adulthood.
We had to draw it and cut it out.
Yeah,
and
I
do
like
a rubber
etched
stamp.
it out
Yeah.
of the rubber stamp, and then
That is so cool.
so I've got a couple of them. I think that
Look at
was
this.
yeah,
Check this
a
out.
little bomb microphone.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate that.
Little swag.
Yeah, I'm gonna Winnie the Pooh that shirt later.
I don't know what that means, but I love.
You
that.
only wear the shirt,
Oh, okay.
top only, no bottom. Yeah,
I was trying to think of what's the other version, just bottoms, no top.
yeah, that's just normal.
That's just no. Yeah, that's just
Do you know the other name for Winnie the Pooh?
no.
It's called shirt cocking.
Shirt cocking. I like that.
Shirt cocking it.
That's good.
You know what?
I'm shirt cocking it.
Deadpool did say that because he did. That's the Winnie the Pooh references. I got it. He says, "Oh, I'm just straight Winnie the Pooh in it." And he's on the couch when he's got the little legs and yeah, it's just shirt cocking it.
I didn't-
What's the other comedian? The guy with the TJ. Yeah, he says he's like, "Oh yeah, he's just shirt cocking it." And he's got that voice, that deeper kind of raspy voice.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I just realized I didn't know this about myself, but I guess I don't really like shirts because my girlfriend pointed this out. She's like, "You never wear like people always come over to our house, and I'm never wearing a shirt." I guess I just don't. I don't really. I mean, I got tats. I want to show them off.
Yeah, it's all good.
Let's talk about this movie.
Yeah, let's talk about this movie. So I gave you a task to go on a Mummy 2, to go through all 10,000 plus movies and shows that we have, for you to pick just one. For
It was
us
hard
to watch.
It was hard.
And we would talk about it. So you picked a film called
Tango Shalom.
Very fitting.
So fitting.
From 2021.
A 2-hour Jewish masterpiece.
It is
of
gorgeous.
filmmaking.
It is wonderful. And before we talk about it, we're going to go ahead and play the trailer for our guest.
Great.
You're going to listen to it or watch it, hopefully, if you're on our YouTube channel. Check it out.
Rabbi Yehuda, why do women wear scarves or wigs on their heads?
For respect.
My name is Viviana Nieves. What's yours?
The same way it is forbidden for a man to touch any woman other than one's wife.
Moshe the children.
I had a dream.
Hashem told you to dance in a tango contest?
A Gentile dancing teacher wants to tango with you in a TV contest?
No, you're a lunatic.
you might find there's no need to touch this woman in tango.
How can I achieve my goal without sacrificing my sacred beliefs?
We're gonna kick him right out of the community.
I got big problems.
Big problems can be such big fun.
How do we convince people that a young, pretty, shiksa dancing partner is just a young, pretty, shiksa dancing partner?
She should be dressing very modestly. You cannot even touch her hair. You cannot even have eye contact with her. If I understand the communication from that dance tango, it's impossible. Why are you hoping that he sins?
We've got work to do.
We should be praying that he doesn't sin.
I never had a best friend before.
Who is that?
You definitely could not have seen the whole movie in this trailer because it was long.
It was a long movie.
It was a long movie.
There were definitely parts where I'm like, can we just get to the dance?
Yeah.
Can we just get to the tango, please?
And we'll keep this as spoiler free as we can.
Yeah.
I am not Jewish, but I have yeah, could you tell? I have two, well, I had a stepmother and then she passed away, and then I have another stepmother who's they're both Jewish. So I have been introduced to the Jewish faith over the last 2 decades. And so I got to see it from a vantage point, and there's multiple faiths involved in this too. So it's kind of it was actually enjoyable from that sense. Like I really enjoyed watching it from that standpoint.
The sort of comparison.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that you got to go, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but I wanted to get your first take on the film, because this is always, I love to hear what my guest thinks about a film.
Honestly, I found it entertaining.
Yeah.
I did find it entertaining. Although in all honesty, it was so heavily stereotypical in the way that it showed Jews that like it almost felt like some like really anti-Semitic person made that movie and was like, check out these fucking Jews. You know, like it was so like specific, like the way they all, you know, the communicated, dressed. Look, it was just so interesting. But I did find it, I found it entertaining. I watched the whole thing. Which is, I lose interest easily. But I did watch the whole thing. I thought it was really entertaining. I definitely thought some of the acting was okay. And then I realized that many of the actors were also people involved in the production, which makes sense. It's kind of a passion project, I imagine. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It definitely moved a little slow. I think they probably could have cut like half an hour off of it.
Yeah, there was some character development that may or may not have been needed. But.
Probably. And like it was so funny, like when they were injecting urgency, where it's like, I need to have a perfect wedding and I need to make money for the 4 children. And then the way he looks at that little donation bucket, and there's like $3 in there, and you know, it was so like a classic movie arc. You know, it looked like someone read Save the Cat and then wrote a movie immediately after reading that book.
Yeah.
But again, this is the thing that when I was messaging you about indie films, I was like, there's a je ne sais quoi in indie films that you just can't get anywhere else. And a lot of that comes from all of those little things that like make it look like not a big budget film.
Yes.
You know, it's like some of the shots, I'm like, wow, that is not a great shot. Or like, oh, wow, that was not colored very well. Or that transition was weird. You know, all of these different things. But there's something really charming about that.
Mm-hmm. I do agree. And I actually really enjoyed the film too.
Yeah.
I do agree with the timeliness of it. The duration was a little bit long. And they could have gotten to, like, again, I was to the point, like, where's the dancing?
Give me the dance.
It's called Tango Shalom for a reason.
Right.
I want to hear I want to see the dancing. It did have some nuances of the Jewish faith and
the Christian faith and the Muslim faith. It was really interesting, like the way that he like workshopped around the idea and stuff. And it was, it was.
Yeah, I mean, my question for that is, you know, kind of what stood out to you about the different faiths, and were they represented well, and did did the interaction of those faiths, kind of go well with the story?
Yeah, I mean, I will say some of it felt like interestingly heavy-handed in certain ways, like that scene where he sees the pastor come out and he like helps the homeless man or whatever, and to me, and that was
He's like,
right.
You gave him food?
Well, and it was right after a scene where like the other Orthodox Jews were really rude to him about, they were really judgy. So I was like, what are they saying here? Like, check out how beautiful Christianity is as opposed to all these judgmental Jewish guys. But I did appreciate that the overall message was, you have to find your own way. You have to decide. The message of the film was, what are your values and how can you do what you want to do and stick to your values at the same time?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I did appreciate the interaction of it, although I think they probably could have had maybe like a little bit more of that. And then when that at the very end of the film where like the imam guy comes back with all the, which I thought was kind of it felt like a bit of a shoehorn bow tie at the end. Like it was almost like, it didn't add enough where it warranted him coming back, in my opinion.
Yeah. Just let him have his moment from the beginning.
Yeah, and that was fine. And then I realized that the guy who played the priest was the director of the film and one of the writers.
Okay.
And the guy and the main character, which by the way, did not expect his voice to be what it was. It was like kind of high. It was like a little high pitch, Moisha.
A little bit, yeah.
And also the names.
Moisha.
Oh my God.
Moisha.
It's Moisha, Esther, and it was literally like the most stereotypical way of. That was so interesting.
We had, the director was Gabriel Bologna. Then we had Moisha Yehuda,
right?
The Yehuda family. So Moisha Yehuda and Raquel Yehuda.
That's the two,
the husband and wife.
Yeah.
Then you have Lainey Kazan, who played Leah Slotkin, who I loved in this.
Was she was the mom of the wife, right?
Mom of the potential sister or daughter-in-law, yeah.
Also, did you catch that? Like, I felt like all of the women in that movie were like way hotter than their husbands in every aspect. Like there's no in what world is Raquel and Moisha the same age?
Like they outkick their coverage.
Yeah, she definitely seemed like really like younger and more attractive than him, right?
Well, even the Slotkin daughter.
Oh my God, the brother.
The brother was like 20 years old. Like, I know he's older, but he's good in finance, and just like so.
Yeah, oh my God,
stereotypical moment. Just like, oh gosh,
oh God.
But I actually know if I think back to like is it Hulu or Peacock, they have the Mrs.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Mrs. Maisel, yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Drazel, and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
Sounds too much like Dreidel. Mrs. Maisel.
Marvelous Mrs. Dreidel. That sounds like a Jewish toy, like Mr. Potato Head.
But I would say that the mom is like
hotter than
the
oh
so
no. I think that Tony Shalhoub is a sex god. I love Tony Shalhoub.
He's hilarious.
From Monk.
Ooh, yes.
He is a brilliant, and he's from Wisconsin, I think.
Is he?
He's a Midwestern guy. Yeah. Oh, it is my dream to meet him and work with him. I would love to work with Tony Shalhoub. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
So yes, the mom is hotter than Tony Shalhoub, but Tony Shalhoub, he has so much to give.
He's got a lot of confidence. So last two characters, just to announce them, but like Renee Taylor played Deborah Yehuda. Was the mother.
The crying woman.
The crying.
She was great.
The bubby.
The bubby.
Yeah. And Karina Smirnoff.
Oh, she was the hot girl.
Viviana Nieves.
Is she Russian? Smirnoff's pretty Russian name.
It sounds like it. I mean, Smirnoff is pretty
I
Russian.
was surprised when they were like, okay, but also perfect example. They showed her, she's like this gorgeous dancer, right? And you're like, wow, she's very hot, right? And then all of a sudden you realize she's got a kid that was like 7 or something. And you're like, well, I didn't expect that. And then you see her ex.
Yeah.
so ugly. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. I hope
Who is this casting director?
It's just so because she's like this beautiful woman, and then again, this guy that played her like the guy that and it was so funny when she answers the phone. How could you do this to me right before the dance?
I mean, let's just call it what it is. She was the best actress in the whole film. No,
she was great.
Were there any supporting characters? And I have an answer for this myself already, but what supporting characters stood out to you?
Oh man, good question. I would say I liked that the shop owner that Moisha came to ask for a job, and he was like, "For you, anything." And then his wife is like, "Not for him, not for anything. We have kids," and he's
got
like,
4 kids. Like,
sorry.
what about our 6 kids? Like, yeah.
I thought he was great.
He was good. Very nice. My first answer, the mothers.
The mothers were great.
They're supporting actors.
They were, they were probably
they were
were
dynamic together. So good.
I mean, the movie was like almost about them.
It's true.
You know who the Menachem, the main rabbi that he kept approaching with it for asking for advice.
Yeah.
Man, that guy talks slow.
He did.
Such a rabbi move. Let me explain to you what
almost like he's a
you
vampire
might want to do. And I'm like, oh my God, this scene could be much shorter.
Like, no wonder you were asking other faiths for answers. They were getting him quicker answers for you. The guy was still talking.
Yeah, and that imam guy was so young.
Yeah, he was. Let's talk about the tango. Do you think it was like a plot device, or did you think it symbolized something deeper?
No, I think Jews love to dance. It's a big part of the culture. Like dancing and singing is a big part of Judaism. And the men dance all the like it's not like a weird thing. Like the men will always dance, and it's very like leg step driven. So it's like a lot of stepping. Like with the horror when he showed her off.
He's like, oh, I can do the horror. And of course they had like I have a perfect track lined up right, ready to go.
Couple taps of the fingers. Yeah. And it's like a dubstep version.
Oh, quick. I had that on Spotify.
Yeah, exactly. I love the horror. I listen to it when I drive, but I felt like it actually made sense. I mean, it did feel a little bit like, like it did feel like, pushing 2 completely different worlds together, all of that stuff. But I do think it worked, and it made sense in the world of Judaism. The men dance, and he could have been a great dancer, and he had this light side to him, and she just needed him at the perfect time. I will say, I can't talk about this because it's a big spoiler, but the ending, I was like, that's an odd choice, but okay.
Yeah.
Odd.
That's fair. It kind of had this old charm to it.
Yeah.
The film. And I don't know if it played for it or against it, because it kind of had like this, I don't say it in a bad way, but it's like a TV movie-esque feel to it.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the way that it was colored and the frame rate.
Yeah.
It was shot. I think it was shot in not a film frame rate. It was shot like reality TV.
And that makes me think like, and I didn't get deep enough into the research to wonder if this was like a COVID film or not, because it was 2021 when it was released. So maybe it was a COVID film. I don't know.
There's a lot of people in there, and they, I don't know. Like, yeah, like
people needed work, whatever. They were going to the friend at the
there was
store.
the synagogue
I
scene,
need a
and
job.
my girlfriend was like, "Do you think those are all extras?" I'm like, "No, they just went into a synagogue and shot for a little bit." Yeah,
Like, hey guys, you mind if we hang out here for a little bit?
This is indie filmmaking. There was maybe.
By the way, can you sign this waiver to say we can use your face? Perfect,
there was like maybe 2. What is it like when you want to shoot on a certain location, you have to get the license. What is it called? When you want to shoot somewhere, you have to go to the city and get like a permit. Yeah. There was maybe a permit for all of those locations. They were like, okay, this is good, because that's so indie, right? Run and gun. Let's just like, if no one stops you, I got my footage. I'm good.
Yeah. I'll give you last thoughts on the film. Give you the last thought on it.
Truly, it's such a perfect example of how it doesn't have to be perfect to be entertaining. There was a lot of parts of that movie that I was like, that's corny. That line was weird. The kid actors were okay at best.
Yeah.
It was like, there was a lot of parts of it that I was like, wow, this is very indie, but it was still entertaining. And when I looked it up on IMDb and saw all the awards it won, I get it, because a lot of times those awards are given for effort, for like storytelling effort. And the storytelling effort was there. It was captivating. I watched the full 2 hours. I didn't fast forward any of it. I was there for the whole thing. So hurrah, you know, like I appreciate that. I appreciate when you watch something and you go, oh yeah, it really is about the unexplainable magic of story that supersedes all quality control.
Absolutely. And outside of the film, Momi 2 as a whole, you got a chance to kind of work through it.
Yeah.
Who do you feel is going to love Momi 2? Like who would you recommend to go download the app and use it?
People who want to see something that's not your standard tentpole blockbuster movies. I think the people who would love Momi 2 are people who, you know, love to watch like weird YouTube videos and stuff like that, stuff that is on the fringes of art, people exploring. Maybe that's the best way to put it. It's people who are exploring filmmaking and having to work with what they have to make the best of it. Like I mean, and again, I'm positioning that from my knowledge of indie filmmaking. There's some indie films that are really, really well made, and I get that. But I think that an indie film, the best thing about it is how it's not really governed by like what the markets want and what the data says. It's just art. It's just people telling stories. And I think that's the people who would like Momi 2 is people who just want to see some cool stories.
I appreciate that's a good take.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, I really appreciate you randomly being in the hallway. And,
there's another podcast down the hall I'm going to go hit up.
Check it out.
Yeah.
No, but thanks for coming on. And
this was great.
And thank you again for the gift. Really kind of you.
Absolutely.
The whole night I've been wanting to call you Brett, but
I love wearing.
It's a great shirt.
I bought this Terryville Fire District shirt in London. So like I don't know who Brett is, but anyone from Terryville, if you know Brett, let me know. I want to know who he is.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming on, and good luck with your special this year.
Thank you.
And if there's any way we can help with that, let us know.
Fingers crossed.
But either way, been a pleasure. Thanks for spending your time with us today on the More For Me and You podcast. If you've made it to the end, we appreciate you. Now, go do us a quick favor. Please like, comment, and share this episode. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode with the incredible guests we have coming up. You can also follow us at Momi2 Podcast on Instagram and on TikTok. Oh, and for your next movie night, check out the Momi2 app. It's free and packed with amazing movies and shows you've probably never seen. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you in the pod.